What if your expectations are setting you up for disappointment in life? Welcome to episode 6 of something we call the Golden Pause. My name is Lucas. Our goal is to retrain your brain and to increase your peace. And in this show, we like to talk about consciousness, happiness, creating change, and a whole lot more through the filter of hypnosis with me, a clinical hypnotherapist. And we end each show with something that we call the golden pause, the golden reset, which is a guided meditation where we are training your body to be a calmer, happier you. Who wouldn't want that? And so let's get to it. Let's talk about expectations. Tomorrow, believe it or not, is my birthday. I will have been on this earth for 49 years, whole years. Can you believe that? Amazing. And the reason that got me thinking about expectations is that a long time ago, I stopped really paying a lot of attention to how old I was. Maybe it's because I married someone with a bigger age gap than usual. But really, what I noticed is that people have different expectations about what will happen in their lives at different stages of their very life. And so what role do you think your expectations have in your life? If you were to think about your 30s and 40s, maybe you're not there yet, but what were your expectations for those years? How about your 50s and 60s? What are your expectations that you had or that you think those years will be like? What about your 70s and 80s and beyond? What are your expectations for your life at all these different stages? It's amazing how our very lives are framed by the expectations that we bring into them. And so I was wondering, well, what are the expectations for the rest of our lives? Like, if you think about the rest of your life, not just different stages, but what are your expectations when you're trying something new? How are you expecting that new project or new relationship or new thing in your life? How are you expecting that to go? Are you thinking, well, I wonder what you're thinking. Let me know. What about for your health? What are you expecting will happen with your body soon, over time? It's really, really interesting. What will happen with your relationships? So the question always ends up being that I keep hearing is, should I have high expectations? Should I have low expectations? How am I setting myself up by the kinds of expectations that I have? And so a great thing to do now is to think about the hypnosis filter. So in hypnosis, expectations play a huge role, like huge. We work very, very hard to shape the kinds of expectations that clients have and what they will have. And essentially the reason is that expectations prime us. They prime us for events coming up. So essentially those expectations set up what we know is called the reticular activator. That part of us that we tell these are the things that are important to us, and so then our mind starts paying attention and noticing those things. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the example of maybe you're buying a new car, or you're buying a new watch or something like that, and at the beginning you might have thought, oh, that's a very unique piece, but once you have started to pay attention to that item that you want to purchase, suddenly you're looking around and it's like you're seeing it everywhere. You're driving, if it's a car, you all of a sudden you go, oh, there's one, there's another one, there's another one. You start noticing it more and more, and your expectations are part of how the reticular activator is programmed to pay attention and to look for specific things. So expectations clearly play a huge role, and essentially what they do is that they help to create the parameters or the walls of our experience, of what we allow ourselves to experience. And so that would suggest that having positive, being optimistic, is a good thing to do, right? And maybe it is. I tend to lean that way. I'm kind of like a perma optimist. Like I find it difficult to not be optimistic, but there are many times in life where the experiences are in no way happy, optimistic. That they don't match, the experiences don't end up matching like a super optimistic expectation. Some people might say being optimist, that'll never work. So there's that side. And so that's kind of connected to the happiness formula, which says that expectations minus experiences equals the level of happiness that you have. And so this might be something like, people that have lower expectations might be more likely to be happy because the experiences that they have, there isn't necessarily a big gap between their expectations and their experiences. So that would suggest then that it might be better to have low expectations, right? Because if you have lower expectations, you're less likely to be disappointed. So which way is the best way to look at it? And for me, what I suggest, and I think a great way to look at it, is to be what I call an opto-realist, a combination of being an optimist and a realist. And part of why I think this is that the problem with the happiness formula, where it would suggest having lower expectations is gives you a much more likelihood of happiness, is that expectations definitely shape the experiences that you have. They prime you for the kinds of experiences that you have. And so it's critical to pay attention to how you shape your expectations for your life, for yourself, for what happens around you. And maybe part of the challenge is that people confuse low expectations with negative expectations, and the two are not the same. Low expectations is being open to all kinds of outcomes, all kinds of situations that could eventuate, and not being solidly focused on it has to be this way. Negative expectations closes the door to anything positive happening. And so that combination kind of helps to explain how to avoid negative expectations. So open expectations, low expectations is generally okay. Negative expectations, expecting things to go wrong, that is when it's going to start to shape your experience in a negative way, and basically be a minus in your life. And so being an opto-realist, an optimistic realist, it applies in a couple of different ways, because you can have expectations on yourself and you can have expectations about your environment. So inward related, inward focused expectations, and then outward focused expectations. And so when you're thinking about internal or self-focused expectations, set positive but context-aware expectations. And by context-aware, I'm talking about being aware of your capabilities, what's happening in your life at this part of what's going on, what stage of life you're in. So as an example, if you are in the middle of raising a family and your kids are 2 and 3, the kinds of expectations that you can set for yourself, it needs to have that context into account. It needs to pay that into account, so that you are not setting yourself up to be disappointed. But you can still have positive expectations for good. And I want to give you a tip at the end of this that will help you to address some challenges. But being positive but context aware when you're focused internally is really important. So then when you're thinking about expectations for how things will go externally from you, so not expectations that you have on yourself, but for situations, for things outside of you, your environment, set open expectations. So that would be like low open, meaning I'm open to, it could go a ton of different ways, including really positive ways, but have an overcomer mentality in that expectation. Someone is ringing. That'll go in a minute. So having that overcomer mentality in the expectation is the savior for things being wrong, because and this is where it's connected to your tip. So let's say you catch yourself having a negative expectation about a relationship, a situation, some aspect of your life, or you catch that given the context, it's hard to have like high or very positive focused expectations from that situation. And so the tip is, when you catch that negative and you say that negative expectation in your mind or verbally, add the words at the end, but I. So say the negative expectation, but and then follow that through with a reframing that places you as an overcomer, as someone who is able to deal with challenges, etc. So maybe if you've had difficulties in relationships, it might be difficult to think like, oh, this is going to work out fantastically. And so when you catch yourself having those doubts about how well a relationship might go, you can recognize it and then add, but I am learning how to tell how a relationship will go better, or but I am learning to tell who is a good partner or not. But I'm learning how to make better decisions earlier. So you can see how when a negative is presented, you can reframe it by adding this "but I" at the end and a positive to counteract that negative. And when you do that, it protects you from the negative flow-on effect to your experience later on. Does that make sense? I hope so. Like, am I crazy? Like, does this make sense, or am I wrong? I'd love for you to let me know. You can write in the comments and let me know what you think about all of that. I'd love to hear it. So now we've come to what I think is the best part of the day. Like, I look forward to this part whenever I do this. And it's a part where we ask, like, would you like to be a calmer, happier you? Are you ready? Are you ready to be a calmer, happier you? And so some people say that this is like an internal massage, but we like to call it the golden reset, where we have this guided meditation where basically we are retraining your body to be calmer, more at peace, and have a bigger bandwidth to deal with the realities of life. And so it starts now. The golden reset starts now. And so obviously, if you're driving, if you're using machinery, now is a great time to press stop or whatever on however you're listening to this, and listen to it when you're not doing those things. But if you're not driving, if you're not using heavy machinery, now is the golden reset. And so it's a great time to just kind of like find a comfy spot to sit on. To sit, you may even like to lay down or get super comfy. Find that comfortable spot where you can kind of wiggle into it and just feel just right. And as you do that, I invite you to start to notice your breath. And we always start with your breath because your breath really is the leader. It's the leader of your emotions. That's an odd thing to say. But how you breathe directs your body into different kinds of emotions. And so notice how you're breathing. Are you breathing deeply and relaxed? Are you breathing shallow? Maybe notice your shoulders and notice whether they are kind of hunched upwards or if they are just comfortable and dropping down in a really relaxed feeling. And as you do that, can I just invite you to take a really deep breath and to hold it? Because as you're holding that breath, it's a really great opportunity to notice how it expands your lungs, that feeling of expansion inside. And as you release that breath, notice how it's just like as if you're really relieved. That feeling of being relieved. And as you take another breath and you feel just the goodness of that breath, you may be comfortable to close your eyes or not. But those breaths just allow your body to come to like a slower gear. Those breaths are messages to the rest of your body. It's time for peace. It's time to be calm. And it's so nice to kind of have the darkness as you close your eyes, and just allows your mind to wander in a nice way. And you don't have to think of anything in particular, but I invite you to notice the enjoyment, the feeling of enjoyment as you take a deep breath. And it's like your body is learning. I can feel like this. I'm able to be at peace. And you are. It's a real part of who you are. And maybe in the past, you haven't been quite in touch with this peace, with this calm. But you're learning to be. And that feeling is increasing. And if you've done it once, you can do it again and again. And each breath that you take, it's like a wave of calm that comes over you. That's it. And it's good to have this moment, because it's just a moment. Everybody can spare a moment to feel peace. And notice how that feels throughout your body. And your body is paying attention to this feeling. It's like it's taking notes. The cells in your body are taking notes that you want to feel like this more. And you can start to be curious about when you can feel like this more. Such a pleasure, such a relief to know that you can enter a moment of quiet, like a big sigh. And so, as that feeling settles deeply into your body, you can know that you can have this any time you need it. Anytime you need peace, you can take a deep breath in where you can feel that expansion inside. And now your body knows. I want peace. I want calm. So you can have it. And so, as you take one big breath more, you can know that you have now had the golden reset. It's like you've pressed that reset button in your body. And so, if you've had your eyes closed, you may start to gently open them up. You'll start to be fully alert. If your mind has been wandering in adventures of life, now you can start to be fully back and present, and you might feel your hands and notice and get that sense of being fully alert. And so I want to thank you for being part of this thing that we call the golden pause and this golden reset. We go live every Monday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. That's the east coast of Australia. So whatever time it is in Sydney, that's the Australian Eastern Standard Time. And so we'd love, whether you're watching live or seeing this on a replay, we'd love to see you, for you to share any comments that you may have. And if you'd like to subscribe or hit the like button, that's what they all say should be said at the end of a video, so I'm saying it. You're very welcome. We'd greatly appreciate it. But otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the evening or day, wherever you are. I will see you in a couple of days on Thursday. So have a great day.